Good evening and welcome to the 34th episode of TFF Talks. I'm your host, Danny Cook, and tonight we will be discussing all of the week's footballing news. But before we begin, this show is sponsored by Classic 11 Shirts and brought to you by Crofer Media and Halftime Cuppa. You can find all of these links in the description below. And if you are watching live tonight via YouTube, please do send in your questions and comments to us in either the YouTube chat section or to us via Twitter at @OfficialTFF. And we plan to read these out throughout the show and especially in the final 10 minutes. So please do send them in. Don't forget that you can obviously catch up on all of the previous shows, including last week's one, which are now available on Audio Boom. But do not disappear. Tonight, I'm sure will be another great show, so please don't go anywhere. Anyway, as for this evening, I am once again joined by Max Hayes, a Nottingham Forest fan and a football vlogger who owns Matchday with Max on YouTube and is part of the TFF social media team. Hello, Max.
Hello, Danny. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm just a bit hot.
Yeah, I've got that feeling too. We'll go on to the heat in just a few moments. And also joining Max, we have S.A. Agboye. I hope I've got that right again. Who's an Arsenal fan. Hey, that's good. Who's an Arsenal fan and writer for TFF, and of course, like Max, you two are turning into TFF Talk veterans now. So yeah, welcome back, S.A.
All right, thanks.
No worries. And potentially joining us a little bit later on, again, as Max and I always seem to joke about, we always have technical issues. David Curtis should be joining us a little bit later on, and he's currently having some problems joining us, so hopefully he can join us. And of course, we have Connor Martin as well, a good friend of mine who should be popping on midway through. So yeah, that's our panel for this evening. A very exciting panel nonetheless. And before we kick off, can we just make a brief comment about the unbelievable weather that's hit the UK recently? Max, how would you describe it?
Unbelievable, Jeff.
Wow. And S.A.?
You know what? I'm feeling the heat because I can't top off what Max just said.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking, what can I say? Nah, I mean, Max has just stolen the show there. Max has stolen it. What a beautiful few days it's been. And I'm currently absolutely sweating doing this podcast. So this is pure commitment from all of us to be in a room doing this when we should be outside, really, playing football. But oh well, that's what life is. Hey, anyway, let's move on to our first topic of tonight's show. And for anyone who has, I suppose, just come from the England under-21 game, after watching that, we will of course be talking about that now. And we'll start off in sort of a chronological order. We'll talk about the first game first. So for those who don't know, England under-21s drew their first game in their group stage against Sweden, a goalless 0-0 with a help from a Jordan Pickford save, a penalty save, I should add. So, Max, this is the first question is coming your way. Do you think England would view that game as 1 point gained or 2 points dropped?
I have to say I didn't watch it, but of what I've obviously seen and read, I think it's probably 1 point dropped. I mean, but I still think they can do well, obviously, in the tournament. Obviously, they beat Slovakia today, so I think they should do all right and hopefully get to the semis.
Good. And just to clear up, that was two points dropped, yeah? Yeah, I think you got slightly confused there. It's definitely 2 points. You said 1 point, but I don't think you realised.
No, I didn't.
Fine. It's easily done. I do it all the time. So yeah, just to prevent anyone getting confused there. SA, what's your thoughts? 1 point dropped or 2 points? Well, oh my God, I'm at it now. 1 point gained or 2 points dropped? There we go.
Considering they have to win their next match in order to have a chance of qualifying for the semis, it will be. I think it's a point gained. I actually do think it's a point gained.
Now, obviously, we'll come on to it, their game today. But before we do so, did any of you guys manage to see Jordan Pickford save that penalty save?
It was a poor penalty. It was a good save, but also a poor penalty.
Yeah, but yeah. I agree. Actually, it was straight. How would you describe it? Because to me, it was straight down the middle.
Yeah, it was a bit. What's the word? Lackadaisical.
Yeah.
Not exactly lackadaisical. It was a bit of a laid back penalty, don't you think?
Yeah, it was a bit. I don't know if you remember the run up. The run up was quite slow, quite lazy. Maybe it's the temperature, but
I think if you're going to take a penalty, you've got to put a good run up on it and you've got to put some good power on it if you intend it to go anywhere really. But like SA says, it's a poor penalty. It's a shocking run up, and to be honest, it was quite a good save by him, by Pickford too as well.
Yeah, and you've obviously said from a striking point of view, but what if you was a goalkeeper, Max? What would you be thinking?
Well, I think if you're saving a penalty as a goalkeeper, you've got to sometimes guess, and then sometimes you can tell by the way the player's going to obviously run up or strike the ball or whatnot. And I think Jordan Pickford knew it was going to be, because he saw the run up. He thought, I tell you what, I'm going to stay in the middle here, because I thought, well, I know it's going to be a poor penalty and a very soft one and easy to save, really.
Yep. And SA, anything you want to add on to that?
Yeah. Pickford save was good, especially with the one-handed save. So there's that.
Yep. Anything else you want to add on that?
Not really.
No, sorry. I didn't know whether you sort of cut out there. It just sounded like you sort of cut. That's fine. So yeah, I mean, listen. From a goalkeeper point of view, they've got to save what's taken as such. So he's done his job. He saved the penalty, and ultimately England got a point. Now let's move on to their second game, which obviously took place today. And they played Slovakia, coming from 1-0 down to make it 2-1 at full time. A bit tense at the end there, wasn't it, SA?
Honestly, I forgot about the game, so.
You forgot about the game? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to fill you in?
In a nutshell, please.
Yes. Okay. So Slovakia scored. I didn't really catch how they scored, but they scored. And then obviously second half, they make the super sub. On comes Jacob Murphy. And all of a sudden, England turn it around 1-1. And then it's sort of backs against the walls. Slovakia really going for it. And then Redmond pops up with a nice goal. And then once again, it's just holding on. They were literally holding on for about 20 minutes, I think, England. It felt like forever, as it normally does. But, yeah, they've done well. They've done well to get through that. SA, is there any sort of under 21 player that you like the look of and you think could be in the senior team soon?
Redmond, I like the look of him.
Why is that?
Because I've actually been I've seen a bit of him since his Birmingham City days. not that I'm a fan of him, but I had friends who supported Birmingham City,
Yeah.
and they were talking about him, so I got to know a bit about him myself. I think it was with the under-19s at the time.
Yeah.
So I think
Go on.
Redmond's a good prospect.
Yeah, I feel he isn't too far off, especially after today's performance. He's not too far off. Max, what's your thoughts? Redmond, do you think he could make it?
Oh yeah, of course. It's really weird because Essay's actually just took the words out of my mouth. He said exactly what I was going to say. So yeah, he's a fantastic player, and of course he can make it.
Is there anyone else you feel that you like the look of? Because another name that pops into my head is obviously James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah. Really agree with you there as well. But obviously, I haven't paid a lot of attention to the England under-21s. I have to admit, I've saw the quick highlights before we came on air of the game today against Slovakia, and then I saw the penalty against Sweden. So yeah, I completely agree with you as well.
Fair enough. And well, obviously you've seen the result today. You may not have seen the full match, or you've seen highlights, but just put into context, is that a really good result for England, or have they've still got a lot of work to do? Do you feel, Max?
I think it's a good result. I mean, it's a result at the end of the day. They could have done better. They've still got a lot to prove, I think. Obviously, if they want to get through to the semi-finals, but at the end of the day, it's a win, and I think that's all what matters, really.
Yeah, and SA, do you feel AD Bruford? Buford? I can't say name. But do you think he would be probably feeling a lot more satisfied after getting that result today?
Yeah, of course. Following the Sweden game, a win was vital. I was watching the pre-match on Sky Sports, the pre-match analysis on Sky Sports. I think the guy said that anything other than the win would see England out of the tournament.
Yeah,
because it's only the group win plus the best third place, isn't it? Not best second place even.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. Yeah, where I think, as you say, it's the best second place. So it's a very sort of strange format, because I don't think there's as many under-21 sides. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, they had to win today. So it's quite pleasing to see them do it.
They had to.
I think that's pretty much it for what I've got down for the under-21s. Is there anything you two want to sort of say about maybe England's youth coming through? Any sort of points, any players you really like, or anything like that?
Well, once again, as I always love to talk about Forest, is that so many English young players are coming through now, and it's fantastic, because in 5-6 years' time, hopefully they can prove what they've already done. And there's a Forest striker named Ben Brereton, who's obviously he's now played for the England under 18s, I think, and then we've also got Joe Worrell as well, who I'm not sure what English team he plays for, like the under 21s or whatnot. But he led them. He was captain, and he led them to win the Toulouse Cup, I think it was. So yeah, it's just great that a lot of young players come through from even small and big clubs. We see players come through from the bottom of the Championship, and even below that, and obviously back up to the Premier League as well.
Yeah, and just on that, actually, very quickly, obviously you're a Championship fan like myself.
Yeah.
Although we'd love to be Premier League fans, unfortunately, that's where our club is, but that's life for you. Tammy Abraham, he was he was probably one of the standout performers from today's game. Now, and obviously he had a very good season out on loan, I believe, to Bristol, wasn't it? Bristol City?
Yeah, it was Bristol City.
What do you make of him? Do you think he needs to play Premier League football next year to sort of develop his career, or will he spend another season in the Championship?
I think, of course, he needs to play Premier League football. I was dead surprised that Chelsea let him go, and he played against Forest. I've seen him play against other teams as well, and he's a fantastic player. When he's one-on-one, you can just tell the ball's going to be in the back of the net, and he scored plenty of goals last season, and he's another great player, and it just proves that the youth are coming through from English teams. Obviously, he's one himself, so I think he could play some Premier League football. Probably not with Chelsea though. Maybe someone lower, Crystal Palace, Brighton, Huddersfield, obviously, Newcastle, maybe, and a few other mid-table Premier League teams.
Certainly be something to watch out for this transfer window. SA is obviously an Arsenal fan, and with rumours of Giroud looking at going to West Ham, would you maybe be interested in that young striker that is Tammy Abraham? I'll take that as a no. Okay, well, we'll move on. Keep your views coming in. Keep your comments and questions coming in too, and we will read them out in due course. Let us know how far you think that England under-21s can go in this competition. And if you get the chance to, just let us know what your thoughts are on Tammy Abraham. Because he could be one to, as we say, watch in this transfer window. Let's move on. We've done one international tournament that's going on at the moment. Let's go to another, which is the Confederations Cup. So I'm going to start off with SA. SA, you still there? Okay, I take that as a no. So we're going to go to Max instead for now. Max, do you have any interest in the Confederations Cup, and do you feel it has a purpose?
Point one, sometimes I'll keep an eye out. I actually don't know because I haven't checked. I'm not sure if Forest striker Britta Sombolonga is playing in it. I'm not sure if he's playing for Congo, you see. I'll have to look and get back to you. But if I'm honest, I've never watched a game of that. I obviously know a few people that play in it, but I don't find any interest in it really, and I prefer to watch something like the Euros or the England under-21s.
Connor's just joined the call.
What was that?
I don't know what that was. It's probably going to flag our stream now. But nevertheless, Connor's here. I hope his music disappeared. There we go. Fantastic. So Connor Martin.
Copyright Connor.
Copyright Connor. Love it.
Good evening, Danny. How are you? You're right.
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, not
good?
bad, thank you. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
That is one way to make an intro.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. I need to just pop SA a message as well, just see if he's still here, give him a little nudge. So I'll do that in due course. Are you still here?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Fantastic. Love that.
It's off again.
Connor, mate, what's going on with your music?
Oh, hang on. Wait, can you hear me still or not?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, we can hear you. Just the music.
Well, I mean, I do hear that you like a night out, Connor. You do like a night out. So you're clearly having an indoor disco.
Well, like I'm just missing the uni nights out. Do you know what I mean? I've got withdrawal symptoms.
Wait, hang on. That's that you're playing.
Sorry.
What? That sounds a bit like Z cars.
Connor, care to explain?
No, it's just a bit of old, a bit of Duran.
A bit of Duran Duran. Nothing wrong with a bit of Duran Duran.
But yeah, but it's on the TV. It's not off the laptop. It's But I'm glad it's coming through.
Okay. What's the song, so we can give it a shout out so we don't get done for copyright?
A bit of Rio.
Sorry, a bit of radio.
Rio.
Rio. Oh, what a song! What a song. Anyway, let's get back on. Let's get back on track now. So, Connor, you've joined us at a good time, and SA, thank you for popping back. We are talking about the Confederations Cup. Max, just going back to your point about Congo, I don't think Congo are in the Confeds this time, unfortunately. So you're fine there. Your Forest player's not going to get injured. So you're.
I'm glad.
You're glad. Let's go to new boy Connor, copyright Connor. Let's hear your thoughts then. Do you have any interest in the Confederations Cup, and do you feel it has any purpose at all?
Nah, like I'm not really interested, to be honest. I mean, I think it's more of it's like the Community Shield equivalent of international tournaments, because basically, I think you're only there if you win the tournament. Is it? Is that how you qualify for it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's your continent.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, like I guess it's a good. I mean, it's something to win and set out to win, but like if you're a smaller nation like New Zealand, I guess it benefits you more, really. But like I can't see the point of it, really. Well,
let's bring. Go on, then. Go on, Max.
I think Connor prefers a indoor disco.
in this heat, you still prefer an indoor disco. What is going on? SA, far away. What's your thoughts on the Confeds?
You know what? I've actually been watching it. I've got to say that the 2013 tournament, I found that a bit more enjoyable than this year's tournament, to be honest.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's the quality of sides. I was watching the Russia-New Zealand game, and I watched the whole of it, but I wasn't really interested in it. I mean, it's Russia who are appearing in their first ever tournament against New Zealand, whose last appearance was the 2009 tournament. The quality of sides just not great. Although, having said that, I did watch the Germany-Australia match, which wasn't great.
Wasn't great. I mean, I've just seen the score. I watched the first half of that game, but apparently, I mean, 3-2. That sounds a good result on paper, but you're saying it wasn't entertaining.
No. It really wasn't as close as it sounds.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. So yeah, I think the consensus here is this tournament is sort of meh tournament that is sort of just there. It's like, Connor, I think you summed it up really nicely. Actually, the Community Shield equivalent. I mean,
I thought you liked that.
That is pretty much what it is, isn't it? But okay, well, let's go into the actual tournament itself. So the first game of the tournament saw Russia get off to a great start with a 2-0 win against New Zealand. Let's go to SA first. SA, because you've been watching it and following it, do you feel that Russia can take Russia, sorry, yeah, I've got that right, could take a lot from that victory against New Zealand? SA? SA?
SA?
SA? Okay. Yep, unfortunately so. So, Connor, you're going to stand in. Connor, copyright Connor.
Yeah, like I think Russia looked quite promising. I saw the second half on Saturday, and they look good going forward. Yeah, I mean, like it's a good chance for them to step up and show what they can really do on the international stage. I mean, since there's only the only other two big teams are Portugal and Germany, really. So, and this in Russia too. So, I'm sure they'll be inspired to do the best they can, really. So, guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. So actually, that follows on really nicely. Do you feel that they could be potential dark horses in the competition, given it's on obviously their home soil?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, like when tournaments are held, the home nation always seems to get a lift from like the home crowds, but the players probably have that inspiration to go forward and do the best, do the country proud. And like we saw when we had the Olympics here, Team GB did well. And France for the Euros last year, they got to the final. So yeah, if Russia keep up the momentum and everything clicks, there's no real reason why they can't be successful.
And just on that essay, the obviously Russia have got a World Cup. The World Cup is coming next year. Do you feel it's important for them to have a good tournament in this Confederations Cup to sort of boost that buzz for next year's tournament?
Yeah, I feel it's very important for them, and also I feel they could be like the Japan side of 2001, who got to the semi-finals, I think it was, when they were hosting the World Cup the following year.
Yeah, I think I was. I'm trying to think. That's going back for me. I was very young, very young. That's going back. That's like my childhood right there. Yeah. So you think that they could be dark horses in this competition, or looking further ahead to maybe a World Cup?
They could be this competition, but with Portugal and Mexico up next, we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll come on to them in due course because they're two teams we've got to talk about. Max, very quickly, Russia, anything you want to add on them?
Same as what Essay said again, really. Like I say, I haven't really seen it, so I'm not going to make anything up, really. But listening to Essay, I agree with him, really.
No, that's fine. Let's move on then. Essay, we're coming back to you first this time. Portugal and Mexico drew 2-2. And I don't know about USA. I found the game highly entertaining. But could Mexico, we just talked about Russia being a surprise package, but could Mexico be a surprise package? Essay. There we go. Yeah, go on.
They're not exactly favourites to win a tournament, but could they be a surprise package? They could be. I mean, after all, their last tournament win was 1999, and I believe this is now their eighth appearance in a tournament. It's their 8th appearance in a tournament. So could they win it for the first time in 17 or so? No, 16 years. First time in 16 years. So they've got every chance to. I mean, I think they have Russia next, and then New Zealand, which they should comfortably beat. So they could be, yeah.
Okay, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Essay, did the game had a sort of incident in which the video assistant referee was used? I believe it was for a Portuguese goal that was ruled out. But were they correct to rule it out?
I think when you look back at it, I think it's a correct call. But my criticisms about the use of VAR is that I think for me it took a bit too long. I mean, I know it's teething, but instantly a bit like goal ref.
Yeah. Well, that is something we will definitely come on. I remember you saying that, and you obviously suggested it for tonight's show. So I've got a full section dedicated to that, so you can rant away. Next, that's coming up after the Confederations Cup. So that's your segment. Let's bring in Connor. Connor, Javier Hernandez.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy who used to be at Manchester United and has sort of disappeared. What do you make of him as a footballer?
Well, I think he's obviously got a lot of talent, but when he sort of failed the first team plans at Man United and went and left England, I thought, yeah, I mean, like you said, he went off the radar, and he sort of his confidence probably took a knock, and he's probably getting it just back now with Mexico. So if he has a good tournament, then I wouldn't be surprised to see him being like the striker he was when he first joined Man United. So, and he can get goals. So he's very much a useful player still, I reckon. But he just needs an extra bit more confidence.
Yeah, fair comments about him. Max, briefly, Portugal, do you reckon they'll be gutted with a 2-2 draw overall? If Max is there. I think we lost Max there for a second. There we go. Max is back. So a 2-2 draw, do you think Portugal will probably... and he's gone. Oh, well.
Missing in action.
We're having one of them tonight. It must be the summer weather that's absolutely killing our stream. But
Yeah, like he's off for a bit of a round around.
Yeah.
You've got the idea in his head.
Yeah, you've got it into him now.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, he's back. Fantastic. So yeah, what I was going to ask you is, do you think on paper 2-2 draw for Portugal is against Mexico? Clearly, is this like? Do you think they'll be probably disappointed?
Yeah, because I think Portugal, obviously, they've got a very strong side, so I think they would have gone out there hoping for a win. There's not a lot more I can really say as long as in my opinion, I really think they would be disappointed losing to someone like Mexico. Even though Mexico could be the dark horses of the tournament, I think I'd still be disappointed not losing, drawing to Mexico.
Cool. And let's move on now. We haven't got much to talk about these next two, but we've got to talk about them nevertheless. So, Connor, let's come to you. Chile beat Cameroon 2-0. Are Chile a team to watch this competition?
Yeah, I'd say they are. I mean, like you're saying with Russia and Mexico, they could be underdogs or dark horses. I mean, they've also got a great bunch of decent players, and they play decent football, so why not? I mean, just build it on momentum, and when you get a few results in a competition like this, you're only a few games from the final, so they'll probably be inspired to kick on and try and go all the way, perhaps. Okay,
and SA, do Cameroon have any chance of getting through?
They have a small chance, but I'd say that's dead. But based on how Germany played today,
yeah,
if Cameroon, sorry, I was not saying if Cameroon play well, then they could just surprise Germany.
Okay,
based on how Germany played today.
Let's talk about that German game then. Sum it up. Why do you feel Cameroon could maybe, on a good day, beat this German side?
Look, although Germany did score 3 goals against Australia, which was expected, defensive-wise, they weren't great. I mean, they conceded two goals, both based off mistakes. defensive mistakes. So
Okay, and well, we've obviously talked about Germany. They've got a young side. Max, do you think the fact that they're sort of fielding a younger side, a side that maybe haven't had as many caps as, well, another German side, well, Max has gone. Connor, we'll come to you. Connor, obviously the fact that they've got a side, I think they've got like 117 caps between that German team. That played earlier. Do you think it sort of shows the strength in depth?
Yeah, it does. I mean, so the Germans have they've got a rich football history, and for all the age groups in international football, they've always been fairly successful. I mean,
what on earth was that? Connor, this disco?
That wasn't me. I think Max has got the tunes on now.
What on earth is that? Oh my word! Oh dear. Well, go on, carry on.
I think the heat's against everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is.
No, but yeah, they've got strength and depth. Like, I'm not sure on how many young players they've got in the squads. I haven't actually looked at the squads properly, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if they've got talented players about 19, 20 who can do a job for them this tournament.
Okay, and I mean, let's look at the flip side. I watched the first half, Connor, of course, with Finn, and basically, what's his name? Massimo Luongo. Is that him?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Obviously playing for Australia.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Basically, anytime he touched the ball today, Finn was lyricking. I can't even. That's probably not even a word. But he was just going so overboard.
Singing his praises.
He was just sharing his love for Massimo. I mean, it was just, singing his praises. I mean,
did he sing the song?
Yeah, I mean, he was playing 5-yard passes, a 5-yard pass. Like, I mean, from where I'm sitting now in my room to the other side of my desk, probably. And he was playing that sort of pass in the middle of the park, no attacker around him, playing that pass. And he was applauding him. He couldn't believe it. He was like, oh, Ballon d'Or. So, Connor, as a QPR fan, I mean, is it quite special to see one of your players play in an international competition like this?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's you get sort of like a nice little sense of pride, really. I mean, I had it last year with Connor Washington playing for Northern Ireland, which is always nice to see. But yeah, I mean, it just shows like you don't have to be in the Premiership to play internationally for your country. And no, fair play to him. Like, he's still fairly young, and hopefully the international experience of playing against teams like Germany will come back when the season starts for our big playoff push next season.
Oh, he's already said it. He's laid it down straight away. Oh, he's very confident. SA, you obviously watched the second half. I assume the second half was, well, a little bit more eventful than the first, maybe? Was it at all, SA?
Yeah, you're right to say that. Australia actually went for it towards the end.
They went for it. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose so, with it being 3-2 down. Do you think that they maybe... do you think they have any chance? I mean, it is a bit of a group, isn't it? Really, to be in. Of all groups, you've got the likes of Chile, I assume Cameroon, and Germany in your group. It's not a great group, is it?
No, it's essentially a group of death. But
okay, fair enough. Well, Max is back. Max? Is he there? Okay, Max
Hello?
was back. Max is back. Fantastic. Chaps, I have questions sent in, which I'm keeping on hold. So keep sending them in. We will answer them very shortly, as we sort of started 10 minutes behind. So we've got a little bit longer in the show anyway. So thank you to Laura and Tom for your questions so far. Max and SA, you two have got one in particular, so stay if you can. Anyway, this is going to be your favourite section, SA. I'm sure of it. Let's move on to technology in football and the so-called changes to the beautiful game. So, SA, talk us through what this video assistant referee thing is.
So basically, what it is like, if there's been an incident before the referee checks it, he has to go over to the video. So he can be given advice on what to do. Such as if a player has gone down for a penalty, before the referee awards a penalty, he could go to video just to check whether it actually is a penalty or whether there's been a dive.
Okay, thank you for that. What's your initial thoughts, having seen it sort of work? Well, have you seen it in operation for the last few games? What's your thoughts?
Whilst I like it, I think it's a bit slow, but as time goes by, I think it will definitely improve.
Yeah, I remember you saying about the goal line system as well. You want it instantaneous. Actually, just a quick point on maybe ways they could improve it. You must have seen rugby, SA. You must have seen a rugby match in your time, and you sort of see how the officials communicate, and it's heard on the television. Do you think this sort of highlights a need for that?
Yes, but again, the referee may not speak English, so communication will be difficult.
Okay, that's a fair and valid point. Let's bring in Connor now. Connor, what's your thoughts on this VAR?
I think it's a great idea. I mean, since Lampard's goal that wasn't against Germany, I've been the strong support of it in football. I mean, it worked in rugby, it works in cricket, it works in any other field game that I can remember or think of. It works in Gaelic football. I think they're using the hockey as well now, but I'm not too sure. Tennis, and I think it'll get to the point where they'll manage to cut it down so it's an instant decision, like a yes or no. And like as I said, there's teething problems when just get over as this new thing, and I'm sure the referees and the players and the fans will just get used to it eventually, and it'll benefit the sport.
Yeah, and well, as you say, there'll be teething issues and stuff like that. And you mentioned the famous Frank Lampard goal, which unfortunately wasn't. That's a real gutter, that one. But do you feel that the fact that it's taking maybe some time to get to a decision, do you think that could be a problem, given that my understanding is at the moment it can only be reviewed once the ball's out of play or the ball's dead. So what could happen is there could be a penalty incident, Connor, down one end, and then all of a sudden, straight down the other end, we could have a goal for the other team, which then might get ruled out because of a penalty. Now, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's when it could start being problematic. I like I guess they'd have to make some sort of rule that the referee stops as soon as an appeal comes up from one of their teams, and then they can look back at it. I mean, and to do with the time, I guess they can stop the clock and until like a decision is made. But like I said, I'm sure they'll think of ways to get around all the issues. And like I said, it might take some time to get used to, but I think like everyone who's into football will get used to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said about ways they get around it, stopping the clock. I mean, I'm obviously a ref myself. That happens anyway. So that, you add the time on naturally. So I don't think that's a major concern. I think, personally, I feel I'm waiting for the time in which it's going to happen where a team have that controversial incident down one end and the other team go and score, and then trying to pull it back, which I suppose is the right thing to do. You give the penalty or whatever the incident is, the original incident. But I mean, that in a stadium, say it's in a World Cup final, or say it's in a Millwall West Ham game. I mean, you're just asking for trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, inside pitch invasion.
Yeah. Let's bring in Max now. Max, what's your thoughts on VAR?
Yeah, fantastic. Like Connor said with the Lampard game, that really frustrated me, and I just wish that was the goal that was allowed. But there's nothing we can do. That's why I think it would help it if we had it in all leagues as well. So it would be great if they brought it into football.
Cool, good stuff. And obviously, let's move slightly on. There was a list. I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a list of potential proposals that I believe IFAB, which is the International Football Association board, are planning to consider. And one of those in particular, Max, and I want to get your thoughts first. One of those suggested scrapping 45-minute halves in favour of 30-minute halves. Now, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think that's quite bad actually. I think the VRA is perfect. It would do a fantastic job for football. But don't stop messing around with halves. If you want to stop time wasting, I think that was one of the rules they wanted to bring in, was just stop the clock and then wait till the ball is back in play. That's what I think they need to do, not this silly rule about halves, because it would be like a American football or whatever, where they stop it every 10 minutes. Same with basketball and all that. That's why just keep it the same. Add VRA in and maybe stop the clock every time the ball goes out to stop time wasting or added time or whatever.
SA, what's your thoughts on this 30-minute halves thing?
That is a ridiculous rule. I mean, to cut 45-minute halves to 30-minute halves as a way to combat time wasting. That's one I can't get my head around, because with original halves, the time wasted is the time that's given back. That's time that's gone back for added time, isn't it?
Yeah, it tends to get added on. So obviously, through my experience, I add time on. Some have their watch running, which youth football and grassroots football, that's what you're sort of encouraged to do, but you have your other watch just for stoppages. So yeah, I don't think that is the end of the world personally. Okay. Connor, let's hear your views as well then.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a stupid idea, really. I mean, half an hour halves. Like if both, like I can tell you one thing, it might actually do for the game, but I can't see any way it's going to get approved. I mean, I think it might make games more attacking and a bit more entertaining, because you've only got half an hour to get goals, really. So I'd say teams would go for it more. But from like a traditionalist view and Like, I don't think it's going to get passed. No way. I mean, it's almost too much of a radical change to the sport. And like I said, people who are quite traditional with their views on football and don't like video refs or goal line technology, I don't think it will go down well. And to be honest, it's only another 15 minutes each half, so I don't think it will make any difference. That time wasting argument's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah. So I think nothing's going to come of it.
Okay. Quickly from Max then. Max, you obviously, I believe you go to a lot of Forest games, and you've been to a lot in your time. As a football fan, as someone who pays their hard-earned money to go to the ground, would 60 minutes of football entice you to travel halfway across the country?
I wouldn't like it if it happens, but at the end of the day, football's like a drug, and I'm addicted to it, and I'd always go and travel and watch it. But like I say, I'm obviously at the age where I actually don't pay for my tickets, courtesy of my dad. So I do thank him a lot. So sometimes I go to games with my brother and without him, but sometimes we all go together. But I think I'd still travel if it did change, but I wouldn't like it. So I just hope it doesn't, and I just hope they leave it the same and maybe put VRA in.
Fair comments there. I didn't mean to say that like 6 times, but yeah, fair comments.
Fair.
There was one more point I really wanted to bring up. Now I've just lost it for the moment. It was about this 30-minute halves. Oh, that was what it was. Essay. 90min.com. They will probably be feeling very frustrated if it suddenly turns to 60 mins, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, just turn the line upside down.
Oh, game changer. Essay. Love that.
I reckon you should email them.
Just email them. Just be like, yeah, just turn that 9 upside down. You're sorted.
Thanks, Essay. But the reason why we can't give you anything back is because we were watching the TFF Talks show the other week, and we saw Copyright Connor on there.
So Copyright Connor, you gonna? I mean, surely that's a great bet right now, isn't it? Buy a 60-minute domain or something like that. Get in before everyone else does. Surely.
Yeah, before the rush.
Yeah. So yeah, we're giving out free advice here. Send this if you do.
Always happy to help.
Yeah, if you do, of course, buy that domain. Send us some love. That's all we're gonna say. Brilliant. So yeah, very quickly, last one on this section. On what sort of changes would you guys like to see? Whether that's technological changes or just a generic change. So if we start off with like Connor, anything you want to see changed?
Well, personally, I'd like to see a sin bin. I know it sounds a bit controversial, but I think it works in rugby. And because you look at the players compared to footballers, the way they speak to the referee is completely different. It's like players are speaking, when they speak to the referees in rugby, it's like they're speaking to their parents. Without trying to be funny, they treat them with such respect. I think footballers probably, and that's nothing, rugby players always seem to sort of maintain composure. Footballers, when it's not going their way or whatever, they lose it with the referee. And I think the referees get a bit of a hard, well, it's fair and it's unjustified sometimes, and people bang on about, I respect the referee and all these campaigns the FA done. I think it's time they should do something like that, just to show maybe the younger generations that you've got to behave a certain way on the pitch, and maybe you'll see a better, I don't know, behaviour from the players and better game. Like, I don't know, but that's what I think personally. I mean, because it works in rugby, works in Gaelic football. In Gaelic football, they've got a black card, which is and like one of the reasons you can get for is for bad mouthing the referee or swearing at him, and it's a full sub. And obviously, a full substitution, if you've got one of your star players on the pitch, is going to mess about with your team. And so, yeah, but I definitely think something's got to be done, because it gives football players a better name, really, I'd say.
Okay. Well, I never knew about that. The black card. That's an interesting concept. And full substitutions. Wow, what a game changer that would be. Max. Let's go to you. We haven't got long on this. Unfortunately, we're a bit tight for time. What would you like to see introduced?
Mainly, I'd like to see the VRA, and I'd also like to see a TFF sin bin. So when Connor enters with his loud music,
it's like a boxing entrance.
Oh dear, he's milking
welcome, Connor Martin. I reckon we should just lob him in the sin bin.
Yeah. I like that idea. You know what? One of these times, he's actually going to go out. He's actually going to go out and still be on TFF Talks.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that day. That day's going to be exciting. So yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, kind of like some prison cheese room.
Yeah, I'll make sure. Well, I mean, could you imagine the amount of copyright claims we'll get on that?
Yeah, like you have to like mute Mysterious Girl in the background,
followed by Barbie Girl, and but certainly entertaining. So yeah, you want VAR and sin bins for Connor?
Yeah.
Not you, Connor. Max, you want that, don't you?
No, I mean, I was going to say, it sounds quite just.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay, SA, what would you like to see introduced?
I'd like to see a rule where if there's been an incident, only the captain can speak to the referee. And then, because like you see in rugby, you don't see like players all haranguing the referee around to do you?
No, not often, do you? You don't tend to see that, do you?
No, unless your name's of course, but still.
Okay, that's an interesting one. That would be interesting to see, actually. It would be very interesting to see. Unfortunately, we've got to move on because we've got some questions in our chat section that we've got to answer. We've got to make sure we do them before we go off air. And Connor, I know you're desperate to talk about Europa League / Champions League groups because you just want to talk about Rangers. So I'm looking forward to talking about that.
That's what it pains me to say.
But before we do, so I've got a couple of questions. One from Tom Bullivant, who obviously has been on the show in, I think, the last 3 weeks he was on, about 3 weeks ago. So yeah, he was planning to come on tonight, but I think he was very, very busy, so unfortunately he couldn't. But anyway, he sends in this question, and I'm going to go to Connor first, as I know you're here. Connor, he says, thoughts on Ronaldo rejoining United?
Well, like it's a bit like a fairy tale, really. Like the golden boy coming back to the club where he was probably the most loved, really, because I don't think the Real Madrid fans, as much as they like him there, to scores goals, I don't think they've got the same love Man United fans have for him. So it's probably a bit of a sentimental sort of twilight career move for him to come back, because he knows he'll come back and he'll be treated like a god, and obviously he can still do job, he'll get the goals, and like I guess he wants to be happy he's got another 4 or 5 years left of his career, I'd say he'll be playing quite late into his 30s. And it'll be a good move for him. It'll be nice and it'll be what the Premier League needs, really. A bit of a character, a bit of a big name to add to the mix. And and if he's working under Mourinho, I think he'll get the best out of him.
Okay. Let's bring in SA. SA, Ronaldo to United. What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I'm not reading too much into that, to be honest. Because I just feel that it's just Ronaldo playing the media and he's just like angling for new contracts, I reckon. So he's using that as a threat to Real Madrid.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. If he's trying to get a contract, he's probably trying to play it a little bit. So yeah, that's a fair point. Max has just popped out for a second, so we will get his views on Ronaldo to United. Just quickly, guys, yes or no? Do you think it could happen?
Yeah, I think it can. Yeah.
Yeah. SA.
Yeah.
Yeah or no?
A bit of both, really.
Bit of both. Fair enough.
Man United fans would love Ronaldo to return.
I mean that's a huge signing if it comes off, or if it did come off, if anything was in it.
Before against United still.
But I believe Max is back now. Let's hope so. Fingers crossed. Max. There he is. I know he's here. I know he's here. I think he's just having some audio issues. Again, it must be the heat. The heat must be on his laptop or something. But anyway, we'll move on, and then we'll come back to Max when he's fully in here. Question for you, SA. This is sent in by Laura DC, who has sent in 2 questions, but this one's to you. She asks, what are your thoughts on Wenger signing a new contract?
Look, not everyone wanted it, but now it's happened. I think we've all got to get behind him now.
Okay. Well, I've got another question as well. One from Harry Sherman, who asks... Hello. You're right, Max. So one quick question from Harry Sherman, who asks, Wenger in or Wenger out? I'm assuming SA, your answer's got to be Wenger in now.
Well, you can't really want him out, can you now? So it's got to be Wenger in.
Okay.
Yes.
Go on.
Champions League.
No, go on.
If you went to the Europa League, then yeah. I've always done a good job. And in the second year, say if you win Europa League and FA Cup first 2 years, and then Premier League, Champions League the next, in the following year, then yeah, he would have lived his legacy.
Oh, you love that. A bit of legacy there for Wenger. I'm assuming Max is now back. Max is now back. Getting my words right. Max, the question which was sent in by Tom Bullivant, who says, what's your thoughts on Ronaldo rejoining United?
Yeah, I think I heard Connor mention it. I think it's a bit of a fairy tale, if I'm honest. And I think he won't return. If he's going to go, he's going to go to someone like Juventus or PSG, and I really don't think he's going to come back to England to play Premier League football again.
Interesting stuff. And I've got one further question for you, Max. This was sent in by Laura DC, who asks, what are your thoughts on Jason Cummings signing for Forest? Love the show, first time listener.
Yeah, I think he's a really good player. I'm really happy that we've signed someone that has great potential instead of signing these randomers that we've never heard of. and have only scored like 4 goals in their whole career, which I think just proves the new board coming in and obviously the new manager Mark Warburton. So I'm really glad that he's signed. I think it's great that he's come back. I think that it's great that he's joined, because I'd rather have someone from lower league that I know that will be better in higher league, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get you. And you were singing praises of the board. So when we were off air to start off with. So yeah, no, I completely agree. I've got a question from Harry Sherman, who asks, when am I, when are you, it says, leaving TFF? Listen, I'm a TFF Ultra. That is my response. Anyway, moving on, because I know Connor is desperate to talk about it. The famous Rangers.
Yeah, basically I just want to talk about the British and Irish clubs in the Europa League and the Champions League draw. I mean, I think there's a lot of promise, really, going into the games.
Okay.
I mean,
go on.
I mean, mainly, of course, I mean, like I'm obviously not too keen on, but Rangers, I've got to credit them for the way they've come from League Two to Europa League in 5 years. I mean, hopefully, like this season they'll have a better year. And I mean, they've made some good signings. Bruno Alves. Hopefully, the league will be a bit more entertaining this year. But apart from them, you got Northern Irish clubs, you got Welsh clubs in the Europa League draw. You got Connah's Quay. Where else you got? You got Derry. And Rovers. I mean, I think it's quite a exciting time if you follow British and Irish football, and there's no reason why they can't go into the draw, into the qualifying rounds, and not do well. And like, of course, you've got Celtic again. They're in the Champions League draw, and if Linfield get through the first qualifying round, they play Celtic, which is obviously a massive game. I mean, so yeah, nah.
Who's the massive game for?
Oh well, I say it'll be more of a bigger game for Linfield, really.
Yeah.
Given I mean, they've got a big allegiance on alliance with Rangers, so they'll be hoping they'll be right up for it as well, and they'll be right up for that. And it's on. No, it'll be a good game. It'll be a good game if the two play.
Good. Well, I look forward to that potentially happening. I'm glad you've had your input on that. Very quickly, I know what your answer is going to be. Celtic or Rangers? Who's going to do better next season?
Like I say, Celtic. Well, without being biased, I even. I mean, no, but fair play to Rangers this transfer window. I mean, they seem a bit more organised than they were last transfer window when they were signed this random. I mean, Barton, that was a bit of a gamble, and it backfired massively when they signed him.
Yeah, SA's laughing, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah, Joey Barton, they're so yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could say it was a gamble.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, they sort of signed players that aren't really up to Rangers standards normally. But I think this summer, the new manager's come in, brought a load of lads over from Portugal, and hopefully they fit in, because watching, like anyone knows who follows Scottish football or saw who won the league, knew the Scottish Premiership was atrocious last season. It was so boring. I mean, Celtic had the title wrapped up by Christmas, virtually. But now, like I say, Celtic will win it again this year. I mean, you got Hibs back in the Premiership this year. I'll say they'll have a decent season, but it'll be closer between Rangers and Celtic this year. But I think Celtic will still edge them out. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we certainly will. Unfortunately, it's time has evaded us tonight. But thank you very much both for coming on, and of course to Max as well. So as normal, before we go off, if you guys don't mind just saying your socials in case anyone wants to continue the conversation on social media. Connor, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, my Twitter is Connor J Martin at 96.
Cool. And SA?
Yeah, my Twitter is A96OAYE.
Fantastic. And Max is, unfortunately, Max is having those technical issues again. Must be the weather.
And he's got his dancing shoes on.
And his dancing shoes. That's what it. You know what? He's on his way round. You watch. He's on his way round here. He's ready for the disco.
He's had the beers and chilled.
But Max's Twitter is at MaxNFFC. And obviously go check out his Match Day with Max YouTube channel. Lots of great content on there as well. And my Twitter social handle, if you wish to continue the debate with me, is at DannyCook1996. Gents, thank you very much for joining me on this very warm and sticky evening. Thank you.
Oh, no worries at all. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers. I can't wait to receive the copyright strike from Connor's entrance. But oh well, that's part of the show anyway. To you, the listener, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And thanks to those who sent in comments and questions. Next week, we are planning to host an end-of-season review. This obviously depends on the potential panel's availability. So sort of keep an eye on our social media outlets, probably on Twitter is the main one, at official TFF. Keep an eye on that because we'll release some details about that later on in the week or the next few days. I have been your host, Danny Cook, and that is all for the 34th episode of TFF Talks, which was brought to you by Crowford Media and Halftime Cuppa and sponsored by Classic 11 Shirt.